Values. That's an interesting thing. I have always sort of conducted my business as if values really mattered, because I think they do. And at the end of the day, especially as you come towards the end of your career, although I don't think I'm at the end of my career, you realize how important that really was in so many of the decisions that you made. It's got to be the reason why you do things. The reason I was in Washington, D.C. was because I wanted to save the world. I really did. I mean, I wanted to be the chief of staff for the White House, before that was hip, by the way. And I wanted to do it because I believed very fervently in the things that were going on in the world. I sort of got over that because I saw how Washington can be sometimes. But I still believe that there are values that drive you in your business life that you can adhere to and let guide the decisions that you make. One of the things that seems sort of trite to say, but I really believe, is doing the right thing is frequently the right thing to do. You know, a lot of times you can get into a debate with yourself and sort of lose sight of that compass. But there's always, in a divisive, serious dispute, something that you can abstract yourself from and say, so what's the right thing to do in this circumstance? And that becomes more acute as you get into really, really tough decisions. There was one time that I remember in particular when I was at Sonic Blue. Now, Sonic Blue eventually did go into Chapter 11. And during that process, we were putting together a compensation package for not only the management team, but for all of the employees, so that we could look the employees in the eyes and say, after we have sold all the assets of the company, here's what you're going to get, to keep them in the game. Nobody was going to get rich. In fact, the management payout was going to be less than what our annual bonus would have otherwise been. And it was a pretty reasonable package. I got a phone call after the package had been discussed by the creditors committee. It was really the group of people who are fighting for as much value as they can, and they have the ability, sort of, to block anything. And they said to me, okay, here's the deal. We're willing to approve the management package if you're willing to cut the general population of the employee package down to 0 days of severance. They'll never know because it'll be hidden in the court proceedings. We'll never tell, but the management team can go off. In fact, we're willing to consider an even bigger package. But the money for us is in keeping the 500 employees who are still there to 0 severance. They get to stay until the last day, but then they're out of there. And I said, let me get back to you. And so I went in and I called my small staff together. And I knew exactly where I was coming out on this, but I had no idea where other people would. And so I had the 6 people who ran the company in a room. And I told them what the terms and the conditions were. And they quickly came to a discussion. We quickly came to a conclusion. And I left the room and I called up the credit committee and I said, we don't agree with your proposal. In fact, we refused it. And we want to let you know that unless you agree to our proposal, which is the same one that we just had, we're leaving at 5 o'clock for the last time. And the company is yours. You'll find the keys out in front of the front door. And there was silence. And at 4:45 that afternoon, we got a phone call saying, okay. And I never had to actually say what the right thing was because maybe it was obvious. But I guarantee you in your business career, you will come across many people and many instances in which the decision would have been made a different way. You may not even know about it, but you'll see it at various times. You'll see people whose only motivation is their own compensation package and who would cut that deal in a flash. Don't be one of them. Because at the end of the day, the amount of money that you make on the margin and those kinds of deals just isn't worth what you have to live with as yourself for having made those kinds of decisions. Think about what the right thing is and do it. It's a good guidepost.